Hi, we want to welcome you back, Al Wood and I do, to our series on team ministry. And what we're doing, both from Al's athletic career and mine, I'm a former Olympian, and Al's a former Olympian himself, but also played for major college teams, Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina, played for several years in the NBA, and you also played in Europe, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I did.
And so, tremendous athletic career. And if you've been listening to the series, Al played for 5 Hall of Fame coaches, and I love to pick Al's brain about things that he learned from the coaches that he had. I mean, these guys were distinguished. They're the best of the best coaches that have ever coached in the NBA and in college basketball. So there's a lot to learn when we begin to talk about the things that he experienced and some of the lessons that he learned from these outstanding coaches. And so in this series, one of the things that I have found in my own athletic career, and I've observed, and I'm certain that you have also had to make note of this, is the preparation that you have as an individual so that you are really a good teammate. And so there are routines that you have before you go into a game, or warm-ups, or preparation that you have throughout your summer, things that you're working on. Maybe you could comment on that and how coaches encouraged you or discouraged you from certain things that would be productive or not productive for your team.
Well, Joe Gibbs, who used to coach the Washington football team,
Yeah.
he's written a book, and it's called Game Plan for Life.
Really?
Yes, it's a great book. And in that book, he's discussing and he talks about game planning.
Yeah.
But he used his experience as a football coach to talk about life.
Yeah.
And it's very, very important, game planning. So you have to, most people who don't succeed, in many cases, don't succeed because they really don't have a good game plan.
Yeah.
And I think it's very, very important. Coach Smith always had a game plan. We had a game plan for practice. It was a schedule that was made out, and he would stick to that schedule. He didn't deviate from that schedule. He pretty much stuck to it all the way. If there was something that could potentially get him off him following his schedule, he might get off of maybe a minute or two, but he would always get right back to it, so that he was doing what he told us he was going to do. If he was going to keep us in practice for 2 hours, he didn't keep us in practice for 2.5 hours just because he got mad at us because we weren't doing the right thing. So I think just the whole preparation and game planning, for instance, you got to know your body. You got to know in terms of your body. In order for your body to operate at full capacity, it needs to get a certain amount of sleep.
Yeah.
Your body needs to get a certain amount of fuel. You need to have a certain amount of water, liquids in your body so that you can perform at the high level. If you don't do all these things, if you take a shortcut, you can't take a shortcut. In ministry, there's no such thing. The people who try to get up and just wing it, you can tell it. You know.
Yeah.
You know the people who've made preparations and the people who are ready to give you a phenomenal meal instead of something that's thrown together.
You know, I consider Jesus' life, and one of the things that I noticed early on in ministry was there were pockets of time where Jesus would be faced with a decision, and he would, in Luke 6, it says he went out and spent all night in prayer. And to me, this is preparation for a big decision.
Yes.
He's kind of watering his garden, or he's preparing for this big decision that he had to make. And when he came down from the mountain, he chose 12 apostles. But this was his own personal preparation for a big decision that he was making. And so I'm certain that there's these kinds of preparation that we go through, like our game preparation often was very specific, like yours was. There's routines that we had to follow, And if we would follow those, I feel it would give us the best chance to succeed.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I learned from Coach Smith, which was unusual compared to the other coaches that I played for, they were successful, made the Hall of Fame, they did a great job. Because you do something differently doesn't mean that it's not going to work or it's wrong. It's just that means you do it differently. In the case with Coach Smith, he would spend more time on what we do instead of trying to prepare for what the other team do. His philosophy was, as long as we do what we're supposed to do, as long as I listen to what God is telling me to do, and I do it, then things are going to work out. Because most of the time, you can't really see the way things are going to turn out. You have to believe and you have to have faith. As a believer, as a Christian, everything we do is done by faith. And so we don't really see it. We have to believe that God is going to do what he said he's going to do in his word. So again, in order for me to know that, I need to have read what? The word. So I need to read the word. And as I read the word, then I understand how this whole thing is going to come together. I can't quite see it. I just believe it. And I know because it said it in his word that it's going to happen. So I believe it's going to happen.
The word is a lamp to our feet and it's a light unto our path. And so these coaches that helped us get ready, they were invaluable in terms of whether you were going to succeed or whether you were not going to succeed. You know, one of the things that I have been challenged about is, and again, because of our background, I kind of watch the things that happen prior to the game. Like, for instance, we're watching currently the NBA playoffs. And one of the reports that came out was how soon before the game LeBron James would show up. Sometimes, I found this amazing, sometimes 5 hours before the game, he would be there preparing himself for the event that's coming up. I mean, to me, that's phenomenal focus on what we're supposed to be doing.
Well, Larry Bird was another great example. He's considered, probably one of the top 20 NBA players of all time. And he would actually be in the arena, and he would have his sweats on running the steps. So people would say, well, why are you running the steps before a game? Will that not burn you out or take away your energy? No, what it really did was gave him more energy. Again, he know his body. He know what his body and how his body is going to react. Same way with us in ministry. There are certain things we know what we have to do. We know in terms of getting rest, in terms of how much we need to study, how much time we need to pray, how much time we need to fast. All those things is very, very important. But you as an individual, you need to know. You need to know your body, and you need to know the little things in which you're able to bring things back to your remembrance. I mean, God speaks to all of us, right?
Yeah, on a team, people are relying on us. And our teammates, I almost considered this like a sacred thing to have my teammates rely on me. And they were relying on me to do certain things. And if I would have prepared myself, I could be the best version of me in that setting. And I think that we need to spend a bit more time as believers, and whatever role that you have in life, recognizing that my personal preparation for this, like you're saying, prayer and fasting and personal disciplines really help you when you get involved with the groups of people that are around you to be and to contribute the most productive thing that you can do.
There's a professional golfer. His name was Lee Trevino.
Yeah.
And Lee, I don't know how old Lee is right now, but Lee used to make this statement: is the more I practice, the luckier I get.
Yeah, I've heard that statement myself.
And basically what he's saying is a lot of good things happened to him in golf.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of good things. Basically what he was saying was all those things didn't happen just by chance. I practiced and I worked at those things. So I think it's very, very important in terms of preparation is that we practice and we work at things. There are certain things that we read. There are certain
Yeah.
places we go. There are certain things that we do. And sometimes when we are doing those things, at least I speak for myself, sometimes I'm wondering, why am I doing this? And then a week later or 2 weeks later, the very thing that I was reading or what I was working on, a situation would come up
Yeah.
where I was confronted with some person or some situation that I was able to handle it because of what happened to me 2 weeks ago.
Well, let me make a personal reflection. Over the years in my athletic career, I began to notice individuals that were great players, and some of those that showed up prior to the event or showed up to do extra preparation like weightlifting or whatever. Some of these guys had were a little bit more advanced than everybody else because of their preparation. But here's the thing I've taken away from this. When I come to a church service, I could get there at the last minute, and many people may not know because they're also getting there at the last minute. But there's certain preparation that I can do because I'm coming into a body of people, some of which I might be able to help. And if I have prepared my heart, or if I have done some praying about what's about ready to unfold, I feel much more prepared to contribute to the overall good of what's happening. And so that's something that I took out of athletics. And I recognize that all of us in the church body, we're members of one another, and God sets us the members in the body as it pleases Him. Nevertheless, my personal preparation eventually is going to have to fit in, and the better I'm prepared, the more I can contribute.
Again, a lot of that will go back to your head coach. In many cases, we say head coach, senior pastor, however you want to, the CEO of the company or whatever, because that person is sitting here and he can see all the little pieces that are coming together, and he can see this person playing his role, this person playing their role, this person playing their role. So he can see that. He can see everything coming together. I'm talking about that great visionary, the guy who's been successful, like a Dean Smith, or like a Mike Krzyzewski, or Bobby Knight, or whoever that might be. They really have something, what we call the it factor. That's what we call it. We call it the it factor, where it almost seems like they've got a second sense of what everybody else don't have, because it's almost like they knew that was going to happen. So we can't quite put our finger on it. Again, why are some people able to just have this gift that is just absolutely second to none, and other people don't have it?
In my athletic career, when I was playing college basketball, I got to know some guys that were playing in the NBA. And you might remember this. There was the New York Knickerbockers that were the 1970 team, and I don't think they ever won an NBA championship. And this was Bill Bradley and David
I think
Busher.
1972 was the time. That was the last time they won it, the Knicks.
I think 73.
Was it? Okay.
Okay, so they won it in 70 and 73, I think. But this one guy, Mike Reardon, one of my college teammates, knew him pretty well, and so I got to know him some. And Mike was not a starter on this team. And this is Clyde Frazier, this was Dave DeBuscher, Earl Pearl, these guys. This guy, Reardon, came off the bench.
Right.
And I can remember meeting him after one of the games. And I was in Milwaukee, and he came out, and we went to, this was before I knew the Lord, we went to a bar afterwards. And I said to him, I said, man, you got here awful early. And he said this, he said, because I come off the bench, I have to be ready to play 48 minutes because I never know what's going to happen. And so he would show up 2 or 3 hours early to go through all of these routines and to have the same demand on his body like if he had played 48 minutes. Right. And to me, I took away, I mean, I'm still remembering this, almost 50 years later, the fact that he took that personal preparation. His career actually he played on Providence when I remember this pretty well because we beat Providence when I was a sophomore in college. And Jimmy Walker, I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Jimmy Walker was the number one draft pick, and Reardon was picked later in the draft. But because of his personal preparation, he had a longer career than Jimmy Walker. And so he distinguished himself. But I think the point of what I'm getting at is that although we're on a team, there's still personal disciplines and preparation that can really enhance the overall contribution that we can make to the team.
And the thing is, God has given each one of us a certain amount of talent.
Yeah.
Each one of us. Well, it's the same way in sports too. If you have made it to that level, that means that you have a certain amount of talent. But your talent might not be equal to one of your teammates' talent. So, but that does not mean you can't contribute. Like in ministry, that you got someone who's the preacher, who's a just phenomenal preacher. I mean, they can really preach. You got someone who can teach. You got someone who really is an amazing evangelist. You got someone in ministry who's an amazing worship leader. All of that is important.
Yep.
So you can't be looking at someone else, let's say, getting more recognition than what you're getting, and you become jealous. You don't do that, because at the end of the day, what we all are doing is, in sports, we want to win the game, but in ministry, we want to be able to point all the people that we associate with to Jesus Christ. That's what we want to be able to do. We want to let them know is Jesus is the one that we're pointing the finger at.
In our next session, I think what we're going to touch on is some things that can really spoil the atmosphere of the team. Now, that won't be our entire focus, but there are certain things, like you just mentioned, concerning selfishness or personal promotion that can undermine the continuity and the communication and the unity that a team has.
Yes.
I want to thank you guys for hanging with us. To me, these are very valuable lessons that God has for us. He wants to present us with these particular challenges. The church is going to come together more and more in the days to come like a unified body, and these principles will help us operate well in this kind of environment. Looking forward to this next session.